Have you ever tried to learn a new language and it just felt like you were memorizing a bunch of words from an app, but you couldn't actually, speak? What if there was a way to learn a language just like you did when you were a kid, by listening? Well, today we're going to dive into the science behind a new method that promises to do exactly that. So let's be real for a second. We've all been there, right? You download the latest, greatest language app, you're super motivated for a couple of weeks, and then it just fizzles out. You're left with a few random phrases, but no real confidence to have a conversation. So, what's the deal? Why does this keep happening? Yep, this probably looks familiar. Most language apps are just heavy. You're staring at a screen, doing tedious drills. It's all about memorizing stuff, which, let's face it, gets boring and stressful really fast. It's no wonder so many of us just give up, and we're left feeling like we can't actually talk to anyone. Okay, so that's the problem. We need to get away from the screens and the boring memorization. So, what's the solution? How do we actually fix this? Okay, check this out. On one side, you've got the old way, text-based, generic lessons that are pretty high stress. But on the other side, you have this new PRAAT AI approach. It's all audio, so no screens. It's completely personalized to you and what you're interested in. And instead of memorizing, you just acquire the language naturally. It's actually meant to be enjoyable. So what's the big idea here? It really comes down to something incredibly simple: learning by listening. It's tapping into the way your brain is literally wired to learn a language from day one. And look, this isn't just some clever idea somebody dreamed up. It's actually backed by some serious science. The whole thing is built on the proven principles of applied linguistics, specifically from the work of a super well-known linguist named Stephen Krashen. Now, the absolute core of his work is this concept called comprehensible input, or you'll see it as I+1. It sounds complicated, but it's not. All it means is that you learn best when you're listening to stuff that's just a tiny bit harder than what you already know. That little +1 is the magic ingredient. It's the sweet spot where you're growing without getting frustrated. And Krashen himself really nails it with this quote. He said, "We only acquire language one way, when we get that comprehensible input in a low anxiety environment." The key words there are low anxiety. It's about being relaxed and just letting it sink in, not stressing out over flashcards. So, what does this look like in practice? It's pretty simple. First, you just listen to things you actually find interesting. Then, the AI cleverly sprinkles in those new words and ideas. That's your +1. And before you know it, you're just getting better. It happens naturally, without all the stress. Okay, that all sounds great in theory, right? But how can you possibly create that perfect I+1 experience for every single person? Well, the answer is a really powerful AI that basically becomes your own personal tutor. And here's the secret sauce. It's all powered by generative AI. So instead of listening to the same old pre-recorded lessons as everyone else, this AI is creating unique dialogues, stories, and examples just for you in real time. It makes the whole experience completely dynamic. So how does the AI know what you need? Well, it gets to know you. It learns your interests, whether you're into travel or science or cooking. It's constantly tracking your proficiency level to keep you in that I+1 sweet spot. It even figures out your learning style. That is some serious personalization. And it doesn't just stop there. The platform is smart enough to use a bunch of different proven learning techniques. It uses stuff like spaced recall to make sure new words actually stick in your long-term memory. It uses dialogue immersion to get you used to the natural rhythm of a conversation. Basically, whatever way you learn best, the AI has got you covered. All right, so listening is one thing, but you've got to be able to speak, right? So let's talk about how this approach closes that gap between just understanding and actually talking. This is where it gets really cool. The AI can generate super realistic, voice-based conversations for you to practice with. It's like having a language partner who's available 24/7, is infinitely patient, and will never judge you for making mistakes. It's the perfect, safe space to build up your confidence. And just a little fun fact for you, the name PRAAT actually comes from the Dutch word for speak or talk. Kind of perfect for an app that's all about getting you talking, right? Don't you think? So, the big question. How long does all this take? Well, the goal here is pretty ambitious. The aim is to help you get what they call baby-like fluency, that natural, almost effortless command of a language in just 30 weeks. So, you might be wondering, is this for me? let's take a quick look at who this screen-free, audio-first kind of learning is really designed for. Because it's all audio, it's designed to fit into your actual life. You can learn while you're commuting, working out, or just doing chores around the house. It's perfect for busy professionals, students, people traveling, even if you're just a huge K-drama fan who wants to finally ditch the subtitles. It's also incredibly useful for really specific high-stakes goals. If you're studying for a big exam like the TOEFL or IELTS, the personalized prep is a game changer. Or if you need to learn a language for work, say in a diplomatic or military role, it can help you get that situational fluency you need. And all of this brings us to a much bigger question. If we can learn a language this effectively just by listening, what else could we learn this way? Could this be where education is headed? A future that's more about listening and less about staring at screens? It's definitely something to think about.